is an Academy Award-winning actor and a genuine movie star in every single sense of the word. Right now, you can see him in theaters as a Southern man battling the Confederacy in the Civil War action drama Free State of Jones. And then next month, he's lending his voice to the animated fantasy Kubo and the Two Strings as a heroic beetle. Take a look. Please welcome the inimitable Matthew McConaughey.
Good to be here. Yes, ma'am.
Matthew.
Yes, Sharon.
Excuse me.
Ladies, take it
This is a
easy.
serious interview.
Hold on.
Do you want to hear the sexy voice? Because you can't hear a bloody thing, so be quiet. Now then, Matthew, darling.
Yes, Sharon.
Before many actors make it in Hollywood, they do lots of other jobs. Now, you went to Australia as a young boy, an exchange student.
Exchange student, yes.
And you worked 11 jobs in 1 year.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, do any of those jobs leave a lasting impression on you?
Quite a few do. One of them I didn't carry the job for very long. When I tell you this story, you'll understand why. It was my first day on the job as an ANZ bank teller. Now, ANZ stands for Australian New Zealand Bank. And I've got my first day as a bank teller. I think they told me this, but either I forgot it or I just wanted to see what would happen. But in the right, when you're giving someone cash, in the right final drawer of is the hundreds. And if you pull the bottom 100, there's a metal clip that touches the metal beneath the bottom 100, which sets off the alarm silently. Well, I pulled the bottom 100, and it was only 11 a.m. I was 2 hours into my first day on the job.
For kids.
And then the cop showed up. So I thought it was pretty funny. The Tony McDonald, the manager of the bank, did not think it was that funny until I got a few beers in him later that night and then relaxed. That was one of my jobs. One of them.
Managed to bounce back more a little bit from that experience. Now, people know you for some of the catchphrases that you've created over the years. From yes, obviously that
First words I ever said on film.
one. And the Just Keep Living one from earlier in your career. And you've got 3 kids now.
Yes.
Do they use any of your catchphrases? Have they picked up on that?
Not really. I think they have something that they say, each one of them individually. They're 7, 6, and 3. But at around the age of 2, each one of them one day showed up and you asked them a question and they went, well, actually... And my wife and I both noticed, where did it actually come from? Where did you pick that up? You didn't get it from TV. I don't think your friends were saying it. And why are you now saying is the rest of what you said before saying actually BS? But actually, and so that's when you know that your kids are starting to find angles to work you. When they start finding the word actually, at least my kids.
Your kids have seen you transform your body so drastically in the various roles. I mean, who could forget your Oscar-winning role in Dallas Buyers Club? How much weight you lost, and then Magic Mike, chiseled, cut up, muscular. And in an upcoming film called Gold,
Yes.
you play this schlubby, chubby, bald guy. Not what we're used to. What do your kids think of your ever-changing look?
Well, when I was 135 in Dallas Buyers Club, I remember my daughter saying, "Papa, you look like a giraffe." This one that you just saw, Kenny Wells at 217 pounds, is hands down their favorite.
Really?
Because I was Captain Fun. I mean, it was, we have pizza night on Friday night in our family. When I was 217, it was like Wednesday night. Pizza night's a great idea. Monday night, pizza night's a great idea. Ice cream, yes. Milkshakes, yes. So they really liked me that way.
Cuddly.
Yeah.
A lot more cuddly.
Yeah.
A whole lot, yes. They like to fatten me.
Yeah, the fat you can still get it. No. It's still you underneath all that.
Dancing at 217, too.
Oh, good. I'd like to see that. But let's talk about your new film, Kubo and the Two Strings. This is the first time you've used your voice as in an animated film. Why did you choose this one?
It was a great story, a story about how you have to, in life and whatever story you're telling, fight for your happy ending, fight for your third act, keep alive and respect the incentives that you learned from your elders, maybe that moved on. But on a general level, my kids were asking, people were asking me, which films have I made that my kids like the most? And I would be like, they haven't seen any. And I haven't, and there's a reason, because I haven't made any that they could see. And so most of the movies I've made over the last 15 years, my kids still have about 10 years before they can see them. So I said, well, let's go make something that they can see.
And you actually read them the script when you got it at bedtime. So now they just saw it, right?
We saw it yesterday.
So how are the reviews?
The reviews are good. And it was,
From your kids, I
from
mean.
my kids. That's the only reviews I have so far. They very much enjoyed it. I watched it yesterday. My daughter, this being my first animated voice picture, my daughter, when my character, the beetle, comes on, she goes, Popeye, that beetle sounds just like you. And we didn't say anything, and throughout the film, every time I would talk, she goes, there he goes again. He sounds like you again, Popeye. And so at the very end of the film, I was like, there's a reason he sounds like me. Yeah. He's me. And so she was like, oh, I love the beetle. So,
Much more with Matthew McConaughey when we come right back. That was a scene from Free State of Jones, and we are back with the film star Matthew McConaughey. Wow, what a... Now, Matthew, on the surface, Free State of Jones looks like a Civil War movie, but truly it's about, or as your kids would say, but actually,
yes,
it's about a man most of us have never heard of, a man by the name of Newt Knight.
Newt Knight.
Who was he?
Newt Knight was a man who lived in southeast Mississippi in the Civil War. He swore he wouldn't fire a shot on behalf of the Confederacy, enlisted as a nurse. Through the time of that war, after he deserted, he fought for his personal freedom. He then, during the Civil War, fought alongside poor white farmers and African Americans. And then after the war was quote-unquote over, and Reconstruction was over in 1876, he continued to fight for the rights of African Americans. Married an African American woman, had a child, and fought for their rights until he was put in his grave when he was like 94 years old. So he continued that fight until he moved on.
I was just telling you on the break how much I loved this film and how well it treated the complexity of the way that whites and blacks interacted in the South. So much more than what we're taught in school. It's an incredible film, and you actually got to meet with some of Newt Knight's descendants around when you were making the movie. So how did they feel about the film?
Well, they were very excited that we were now going to tell the story of Newt Knight and what he did and what he fought for. This is a guy who only needed his own ideals to wage a war. They were happy to see me. But they were more happy that we were going to tell Newt Knight's story. Newt was definitely their star, and they were like, this man's story should be told. We had hundreds of Mississippi extras came to be extras in the Civil War scenes that came and said, we would do this for free because there's some good people in Ellisville. We know about Newt Knight. We know his people. They're good people. Yeah.
One of the things I want to just point out is that he lived with his wife, who was a free slave, an African American, at a time when marriage between whites and blacks was illegal. So he really lived his ideals in a way that could have gotten them both killed at that time.
He was damned the consequences with every decision he made. It's one of the amazing things about the guy. If he saw a wrong or he saw an injustice, he couldn't ignore it. had no way to ignore it. It was just not in his DNA to ignore it. And many times, I mean, he risked losing his life, his family, all kinds of things for what he knew was the right thing to do.
Yeah. It's an incredible movie.
What a man.
Yeah. Really,
Now,
really
you
wonderful.
shot this movie in New Orleans,
Yes,
and it's one of your favorite cities.
I love New Orleans. The beautiful mess.
It's like a Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. It reminds me of.
That's another way of saying what I always call it. I say New Orleans is like one big flashing yellow light. Proceed with caution, but proceed. No, you know how it is in New Orleans. You're going to cross a one-way street in New Orleans, you better look both ways.
And on the sidewalk as well. And we heard that the spirit of the Big Easy carried over into the gym that you joined there.
Yeah, well, there was a great gym down there that I found, and it was based on an honor system. I go in there and I call the owner, the number's on the window, and he goes, "Oh, here's the code. Go on in." And I said, "Well, how much is it? You know, what do I owe you? I'm going to be here for 3 months." He goes, "You know what? Just give me a call, like, you know, before you leave, and tally up how many days you had, and we'll work it out."
Wow.
Nice.
And it all worked. And it wasn't just for me. It was for everyone in that gym. It was on that honor system, and it worked.
Right.
And I ended up leaving an envelope with cash behind the desk, and he didn't pick that envelope of cash up behind that desk, which nobody was behind for probably a week, and nobody took it.
Oh, that's right.
So,
Wow.
In that envelope, $500,000.
better call and check and see if he got it. He told me he only got 100,000.
Now, your career is so eclectic. You've done drama, comedy, now an animated film. But people do love you in romantic comedies. Quentin Tarantino, the great director, just said that you made him cry in Ghost of Girlfriend's Past. So if he would write and direct a romantic comedy, would you star in it?
Got a good hunch that Quentin will get the comedy part. I don't know well enough to know about the romantic part. Quentin, give me a call. We'll talk about it.
We'll be there. Matthew, it is always such a pleasure to have you
Pleasure to be here.
Please come back more often.
I will.
Free Stater Jones is in theaters now, and Kubo and the Two Strings opens Friday, August 19th. We'll be right back.